everybody, Adam Schmaley here with Integrated Consulting and Advisory Solutions. Thank you so much for taking the opportunity to download the 3 free workflows that we provided to you as a follow-up to the webinar that we hosted with Redtail. As a follow-up to that, what I wanted to do is just provide a little bit of an assistance towards you as you look to take those templates and implement them into your Redtail CRM. If there was an easy way for us to go ahead and seamlessly copy all that workflow or those 3 workflows into your database, rest assured we would, but it's difficult for us to do that. So what we did is we did the next best thing that we knew how to do, is we put them in a PDF form for you, which you have in your inbox. And we're hoping that this video kind of gives you a little bit more of a step-by-step process on how we would basically kind of reverse engineer what we did and how to get that into your CRM. So if you have 2 monitors, that's going to work best. If you don't, what I would suggest doing is doing as you're seeing right in the screen in front of you. I would have Redtail open and specifically we are working in our manager account Redtail workflow database, in the templates, our workflow templates. And then I would pull up the deliverable that we provided to you on a separate monitor or side-by-side screen. What we're going to do is we're going to create a new template. And so we're going to name this template, so we can just go ahead and we're going to just basically highlight this part right here. We're going to copy this. We're going to paste that in there, making sure that everything is correct. We're going to leave it under construction. If you want to assign this workflow to default to a user in your database every time it's assigned, you can certainly go ahead and dictate that right now. You recall in the webinar how we talked about the importance of categories, because we can really use categories to filter through all the noise that you have going on as your workflows become more and more robust and more utilized in your firm. So this is a client account service workflow, and we're going to say that this is due 0 days. So we want this to begin on the day that it was created. Now, under the description, you can certainly put any and all information that you would want to have anybody see why they would use this workflow. Again, the title of this is pretty self-explanatory, but one little tip that we always recommend is to take the target date that we have here and paste that into the description. We do that just as a way so that anybody that's going and using this workflow in the future, when you assign a workflow to a contact record, it will always ask you to list the target date. And creating a little cheat sheet here for you in each individual workflow will give you that information, and anybody new on your team or getting used to workflows will have that information right in front of them as well. Now we're going to go ahead and create the workflow template, and we're going to find that template here. So we're going to scroll down. It's Redtail works on a numeric alpha ordering system. So we're going to see right here, we have this under construction. Here is our workflow. So now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of work our way down the template that we have here. So we can see that, remember, the components of a workflow are you have steps, tasks or tasks within steps, and then outcomes, which are the if-then relationship between the action that occurred and the next step in that workflow. And you'll notice on our deliverable that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps in this workflow. So I can just kind of hammer out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now I have my 5 steps, coordinating the 5 steps here. You can see our little, every blue oval that we have here are steps. Every little greenish box, sea green box that we have here are the step or steps. You can see down in step 3, we have 2 different steps. And then these blue boxes over here are the outcomes. So let me kind of walk through how I would do this. So for step 1, we only have 1 task. Remember, in order for a workflow to work, you have to have at least 1 task within each step. And from here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do the same thing that I did previously. I'm going to cut and paste into each step. So in this one, I'm going to edit the step. I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to Command C if you're on a Mac, or Control C if you're on a PC. I'm going to highlight all that. I'm going to paste that in there. And we can see here that telling me that we want this to be due 0 days before the target date, before or after, same difference, right, if it's 0. This tells us that this step is going to be due on day 1 at the genesis of the workflow. Now, description, you can see that we have the description here down below. Excuse me, this is for the step or task, getting ahead of myself here. So we're going to go ahead and update the step. And now what we can do is get to what I was just doing a little bit ago. Now we can go ahead and select this information, copy, paste. Now this is where you can assign it to someone in your office. If you know that this person in your office is always going to be responsible for doing this task, more times than not, again, if they're going to be the norm and not the exception, you can certainly go ahead and assign them in the templates. Again, that's a best practice, what we recommend doing. And now you can go what I was going to do earlier in the step and highlight all of this, Command C, Command V for paste, or Control V for paste. And we're going to go ahead, oops, I forgot this little bit down here. Update task. And now, last but certainly not least, in order to complete this step, I need to get my outcomes. So for here, we have one outcome that we could be waiting for additional details from the client. And this is going to be the key to understanding how these workflows work, the deliverable that we provided. And I'll apologize in advance that a couple of the additional workflows can get a little bit noisy, and you might have to get out your pen and kind of trace through them a little bit. The corresponding arrows are indicative of what the next step should be. So for example, if we're awaiting additional details from the client, we see that the next step is actually going to be the same step. Remember, outcomes have the ability to progress, regress, or keep the workflow on the same step, and the benefit in doing that is that it gives us the opportunity to jot down notes and keep us and anybody else on our team abreast of what has developed within the silo of this process. So here we want to make sure that we're selecting the next step is going to be the same step. Create outcome, and there it is. What I would be doing and what I recommend doing is, as you do this, do all of your steps first, then go ahead and do all of your tasks for each corresponding step, and then work your way through the outcomes. The reason for that is that if you try and do the outcomes right now, as you may have seen before, if I go ahead and try and do another outcome, the next step, I don't really have them labeled. So if you start dragging and dropping steps, it might get a little confusing there. So do your steps first, then your tasks, then do your outcomes. Again, anything that is, I believe, in a magenta line is going to recycle that step, and then just follow the arrows to dictate what the outcome should be. If the next step in sequence is either directly the next step, or maybe you skip a step. There might be some workflows, and I believe a couple of the workflows that you have in front of you might go, one outcome might take you from step 1 to step 3. Again, that's the beautiful thing about workflows and outcomes, is that it can dictate which step is going to be applicable based off of the outcome of that step that you're currently on. So I really hope that you find this resource usable, applicable, and it really tries to show you the benefit and efficiency and how you and your team can, as we are fond of saying, independently collaborate to, at the end of the day, deliver a fantastic client experience. If you're interested in learning more about the solutions that we provide to advisory firms like yourself and want a true plug-and-play version of all 52 workflows that we have in our database, please visit integratedcas.com. That's www.integratedcas.com, or you give us a call at 317-653-3220, or better yet, or I should say even still, you can email me, adam@integratedcas.com. Thanks so much. Good luck on everything, and thank you again for the opportunity to share some valuable resources with you. Enjoy the day.